Hi, everyone. You can see what kind of weather we got outside here with about a foot of snow. So this week, instead of taking you into the outdoors, we're going to bring the outdoors to you in another way. We're going to take you indoors, and we're going to discuss fish, all the different kinds of fish that you can catch on your hook and line all across this wonderful country of ours and to the south in the United States and all over the world. We're going to show you some exotic fish that possibly you'll never see. We're going to meet Vince Penfold, the assistant curator of the Vancouver Public Aquarium, first of all. Hi, Vince.
Oh, hello, Ted.
How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Vince Penfold of the Vancouver Public Aquarium Association. Have we come at the right time? I see not too many people around today with the weather outside.
Yes, you have, but if you'll just excuse me a minute, I've got to go and supervise the feeding of our seals. Would you like to come along?
I'd like to come along. Let's have a look. I'm sure the people won't mind seals as well as fish. This is where you feed them in here, Vince, eh?
Right.
Sort of behind the scenes? Over the top here?
And here comes Buster coming out to see us.
Hi, Buster. Oh, make quite a noise, don't they?
Well, the one does, the fur seal. You'll probably hear him. This is Bill Duncan.
Hi, Bill. Hey, Vince, Bill's got him pretty tame there, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah. They really know him. And he works with them quite well.
These are all hair seals, or have you got one different kind?
The two larger ones are... no, they're all hair seals, Ted. The two larger ones are harbor seals, and the smaller ones are northern fur seals.
Oh. What's a full-grown one of these kind of seals? How much do they weigh?
Well, the spotted seal, Buster, the harbor seal, will weigh about 200 pounds full grown, but the fur seal will go up to 600 pounds. It's very large. Sea lions.
They're friendly little fellows, but the fishermen, both the commercial and sport fishermen on the coast, they sure hate them.
Yes, I guess the seals interfere with their fishing operations with their nets.
Well, Buster, nice feeding, eh? And now Bill Duncan's finished feeding the seals here, Buster and Flippy and all the other ones in the aquarium. We're going to show you the fish right now and all about fish, but we thought we'd open it with a little bit of seal action here. Once again, my name is Ted Peck, and welcome to the indoor-outdoor show, this time Tides and Trails.
From Canada, from around the world, it's time for Tides and Trails, the show as big as all outdoors. Canada's only outdoor show, brought to you by Sportsman King Size Filter Cigarettes. Now, with 2 million Canadians watching, here's Ted Peck.
Well, Vince, I think first things first, we're going to go over to the lake trout, what's commonly called lake trout pen, or what do you call it, special tank for them.
Yes.
And we'll start out with some of the fish that the people caught on their hook and line, and we can start identifying them from there and show them the fine points, I guess, and I'll let you do most of the talking, seeing as how these are your private pets, and tell them all about the fish. It's quite warm in here. Do you mind if I take off my coat?
Go ahead. Please do.
Not like the weather outside, but
be comfortable.
I don't know what it is that fascinates people about fish. I've been fishing since I was a small boy for all kinds of trout and salmon mostly, but then since we've done the show on the prairie provinces and eastern Canada, this lake trout here is one of the most prized game fish of all of Canada, and yet it's not really a true trout as far as I'm concerned.
No.
Yeah, I think you'd explain it to the people in technical terms as much as you can about the trout and salmon family, not the salmonoids in general, and where the chars fit in.
The lake trout is in the genus Salvelinus, as opposed to Salmo for trout and Oncorhynchus for the salmon.
And as such, this is one of the largest of the char family in Canada. There's several chars, and
right. Yes, these char go up to a weight of easily 60 pounds.
I think some of the people watching tonight might remember that we we were up in Cunningham Lake a few months ago in northern British Columbia, and we were throwing these things back out of the boat, catching them and releasing them up to 35 pounds. These fish in the Great Lakes, Vince, I guess you've been back there to Port Arthur and all through the Great Lake country. This is the great commercial fish of eastern Canada, the lake trout.
Oh, yeah.
And they've had a lot of trouble with lampreys attaching themselves to the sides of these fish, just like the Pacific salmon. In the northern British Columbia rivers, the lampreys attach themselves to them too. How long have you had these specimens here in the aquarium?
Oh, these have been living here a long time, at least 2 years or more.
They look like about 4 or 5 pound specimens. Are they quite hardy? Do they adapt well to this captive life?
Very well, very well. They seem to be the best char, as far as we're concerned, for aquarium use.
The largest one I know of on record anywhere in North America was a 102-pounder taken, I think it was out of Great Slave Lake in a commercial fisherman's net. But the average size fisherman, the angler, will pick them up anywhere from 5 to 50 pounds. And the further north you go, the larger and the more abundant they seem to be. They're really quite a northern fish. And yet in British Columbia, they're regarded as a second-rate game fish. Now, have you ever gone fishing for them yourself? Eh?
No, I never have.
No. Most of them caught by trolling, although in certain lakes and at certain times of the year, they're caught by spinning with a very light tackle. When we were up in Cunningham Lake, we caught them on 8-pound test spinning gear. These lake trout here are regarded, I'd say, as an average fighting fish. They don't fight as hard as the trouts and the salmons.
No.
And you find them quite easy to look after here in the aquarium.
Yes, very hardy.
Well, let's go next door here and have a look at these other fish right here. These are quite a common type of fish that are caught mostly in Alberta, and we have them in British Columbia too, and up in the Arctic. These are the Arctic grayling, and you guys see you've got a Rocky Mountain whitefish in there as well.
Yes, we do.
I've caught whitefish before, Vince, using a single salmon egg. I think that's what they like the best. Did you notice the little teeny mouth on them?
Yes, very small.
No, they don't have any teeth either, and I guess they do most of their feeding, sort of straining stuff up from the bottom, insects and...
That's right. They grub along the bottom, as you can see some of them doing now, rooting along.
And I think perhaps the grayling is one of the prettiest fish that I've ever seen. We were fishing up in the Pack River, that drains into the Arctic watershed a few years ago, and we caught these grayling on the fly, and they're great big dorsal fins on them, and the purplish colors that they get on them are just gorgeous. How large grayling have you ever raised in the aquarium here?
Well, actually, these are the first grayling we've ever had.
At Elmer Taylor's place, he's got, in Calgary there at the aquarium, he's got a beautiful pair of matched grayling that go about 3 pounds each, almost world record size, and they have the, I think it's the males, I'm not dead sure, but I think it's the males have the great long dorsal fin. Well, so much for the whitefish and the grayling, Vince. What do we got here in the next one?
Oh, we have a collection of rainbow trout in here. Well, the rainbow trout is in the streams, freshwater streams. They're steelhead in the sea, and they're kamloops trout in the interior.
And yet they're all,
same
breed
right.
of cat, as it were. And I've caught steelhead all months of the year in the west coast of British Columbia. And you catch them in the wintertime, when you get weather just like we've got outside right here now, and you get them in summertime. Up in Kamloops in the central part of British Columbia, they have their Kamloops trout, which is just another local name, really. They used to think it was a sort of a subspecies, but they've never really proved this. We fished for these rainbow in Hawaii, of all the strange places, Vince. They weren't very large there, but we had a lot of fun fly fishing for them. We've been down to New Zealand, and the world-famous Tongariro River and Lake Taupo, and they grow to tremendous size down there. They get up to around 15 pounds, you know. These trout adapt themselves, Vince, all over the world. I think they're one of the best breeds of trout for stocking everywhere. And even there's a great big fishery established in Japan now where they grow them. They ship them all over the world as food fish, too. And even getting back to New Zealand once again, we even hand-fed them. Great big 8-10 pounders would jump up 3 or 4 feet to get a piece of meat off a stick. They've got them in these little pools.
Did you? Yeah, that's interesting.
But I think they're one of the greatest fish in the whole world for sport fishing, because they lend themselves to fly fishing so well, and in a real sporty way.
Pretty good fighters, aren't they?
Oh, tremendous. And they go anywhere from a few ounces up to 50 pounds. From the sporty rainbow trout, we go to the great northern pike over here in the next tank, and you've had these specimens for some time, haven't you?
Yes, very good number of years.
The pike is regarded by most people in the United States as quite a game fish, and people come from most of the states in the United States up to the northern Canada, where this pike is, just millions of them. And we've been fishing for them in places like northern Saskatchewan and around the city of Kenora in Ontario and northwestern Ontario, and they go up to 35, 40 pounds. But we don't consider them anywhere near the game fish that the trouts are. But I think, really, the pike's only real claim to fame is the fact he grows to such tremendous size.
And such as the musky.
Well, that's, of course, he's a relative of the pike, too, and he gets to 60 pounds.
Right, they're almost the same fish.
And I think from sport fish, generally, Vince, I'm going to let you take it away on the next tank over here, because these are exotic fishes I've never even seen before.
Well, you would actually find these in northern North America. Yeah, these are the bowfins and gar pike fish from the eastern part of the country.
Well, where
these are found in Ontario and Quebec. One interesting feature about these fish is their primitiveness. The bowfins and the gar pikes are among the earliest of the bony fishes, and they have come almost unchanged through a great deal of geological time. They have the bony scales, the ganoid scales, which you may see. The pike, you notice, has an upturned tail, reminiscent of sharks.
You mean the gar pike here?
Well, we both,
or even the other
have gars and gar pikes. It's just another common name confusion again.
These bowfins with a spot on their tail, is that significant of anything? Is that do they all have that?
They all have that. They may lose that as they grow older and larger. It's characteristic of the bowfin, of that species.
Well, I think, Vince, from comparatively small fishes here, let's move over way down to the end now and see one of the largest fishes I've ever seen in captivity. You get one of those gigantic sturgeons down there right out of the Fraser River. Let's go down and have a look at him.
Sure.
They are sort of a primitive fish, too, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Look at the size of this one. I bet this is one of the largest I've ever seen in your aquarium tanks here. How big is this fellow?
Well, this chap is 6.5 feet long and weighs about 225 pounds. And he's the largest fish we've ever had in the aquarium.
Is that right? And look at the scars on his tail there. What would cause that?
Well, that was caused by the chafe of the rope that was used to tether the sturgeon to the boat in the Fraser River.
These fish go up to, I think, what's the record? Something around 2,000 pounds, isn't it?
Yes, I've heard of ones almost that size, over 20 feet long.
Immense, and they say they're hundreds and hundreds of years old.
Right.
There are several types of sturgeon, Vince, as I understand it. The white one and the green one. What are these?
Oh, the green one is a more southern species.
Oh, I see.
And then there's the shovel-nosed sturgeon, which lives in the southern states.
These they've got a limit on them if you're ever catching them sport fishing, is you mustn't catch one under 3 feet in length. And in some parts of the world, they're known as the royal fish, and nobody's allowed to catch them unless they're fishing for royalty and a special permit.
Yes.
They're very delicious eating fish. Some of the seafood restaurants in the West Coast areas serve up real special delicacies on them. And you were telling me something a little while ago. Tell everybody else, Vince, about their bony structures.
They're not all bone, Ted. They're part cartilage. As far as their skeleton is concerned, they're more or less in between sharks and the true bony fishes. So they're a primitive form.
I call them, and I have done for many, many years, I call them a vacuum cleaner with fins, the way they up off the bottom of
a real sucking mouth, and they root along in the mud in the bottom of the river.
These giant sea turtles, Vince, they're quite a fascinating life history to them. I know you people fishing in northern North America particularly will never get a chance to even see these, but Tell us something about their life history, Vince.
Well, they're tropical animals. These come from the Caribbean and off the coast of Mexico, Pacific. They spend their entire life at sea, except for the female who goes ashore only when she lays eggs.
I remember, Vince, I had one particularly nasty experience with one of these brutes down in the West Indies, a little island called Grand Cayman.
Yes.
And they must give off something, these sea turtles, because I was wrestling one of them, and they went in a little pen, and I got blinded for 4 days afterwards. I was allergic to something that they were giving off in the water. Do you know of any toxic effects that these things have? Or?
No, I don't, Ted, unless it was some excreta, possibly, a strong urine, maybe.
These turtles are quite the beasts of the sea. Have they got any teeth?
No, there's no teeth. They have horny plates to form a beak, which they use for crushing shells.
What do they eat?
Oh, shellfish, mostly. And they grub around in the bottom in the sand. They also love seaweed. They're great vegetation eaters too.
They're capable of swimming tremendous distances too, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Well, let's move on from the turtles and show the people some of this beautiful sea life that you've got here, this growth. Now, about these anemones or anemones, or we were talking about it. A lot of people wouldn't get a chance to see these, particularly ones who don't live near seacoasts. And I find them fascinating here. So you take it away and tell us all about them.
Well, this tank is one of our specialized tanks, Ted. It contains many animals that are found subtidally that people would never see along the seashore, often down to 50, 60 feet and below that.
One thing I find fascinating about these prawns is that everybody in North America calls them shrimp, unless you happen to live on the West Coast, as we do, Vince. And,
well, we just call them prawns because they're large. They're just large shrimp. They're not a different animal.
When you order a shrimp cocktail, for instance, almost anywhere in Canada or the United States, you'll get this size shrimp, except in British Columbia, where you get the little teeny weeny ones.
Yes.
Are they higher or lower in the order of life than fishes, all these crustaceans?
Well, they're probably not neither higher nor lower. They're on a different line of evolution altogether.
Now, that's a scallop there, Vince, isn't it?
Yes, up on the rock right in front of the anemone is a scallop.
Delicious seafood, and you told me something fascinating, that they move.
Yes, they're not rooted to the seafloor at all. They will swim around, swim up in the water by clapping their shells together. Oops,
boy,
you see that prawn almost was caught by the anemone there.
Boy, those anemones trap their prey, do they? And
yes, some of them have very sticky tentacles as well as stinging cells in the tentacles. And they can grab and draw in the prey very easily.
You got all kinds of fascinating things here, Vince, in this miniature tank, and I see you even have a little baby lingcod. He's just swimming in there now.
Yes.
Now, they're not really a codfish at all, are they?
No, they're not true cods at all. That's just a misnomer. And of course, as you know, they'll grow to a tremendous size, 60 to 80 pounds quite easily, maybe 5 feet long.
That's right, particularly the females, the big sow cods, we call them, or mama cod.
Yes.
We've caught them all over the coast of British Columbia, and we've done several shows with young people. I remember Mr. Dennett, our cameraman, his little boy got one once about 35 pounds, and we made quite an interesting show out of teaching them how to catch these codfish right from the time you pick up your little teeny bait to catch perch, and then you use the perch to catch the cod.
Yes.
But I've caught these sport fishing once in a while, but normally you wouldn't catch them. They catch those on deep drag trawls, don't they?
Right, they're fairly deep water fish, and they're a bottom fish. That's the barbel indicates that they browse along the bottom.
A lot of other interesting fishes here too, Vince, in your big tank. You've got these flat fishes all over the bottom, various flounders and soles and skates, and you could spend days and days in here, and you still wouldn't know the habits of all these fishes.
It's true. Many people do come back again and again and again. They always find something different here.
I guess a lot of people don't realize that the little Pacific dogfish here that you see is a relative of the great white pointer shark, for instance, that we had on in Australia for 12 and a half hours, that great giant man-eater.
That was quite a show you put on there.
But even these little fellows here, you see how the mouth is on the underside like that? They've got teeth like razors, and they can cut your fishing line awfully quickly.
Yeah, you have to be careful to not get your fingers in their mouths when you cut a dogfish.
Let's talk about this big king crab here, because he's putting on a little performance here for us with his feelers and mouth. What's he actually doing here?
Oh, he's just watching us, I guess. He's feeling with those antennae.
What's he feeling for? What's he actually doing?
He's probably probing the water, probably tasting it, and sensing whether there's prey or enemies nearby. You can also probably see his gills waving inside the shell, where he's drawing water in past the gills and breathing.
What do they feed on? What do they normally eat?
Well, they're scavengers, bottom feeders, and they'll eat anything that they find on the bottom that is palatable for them, dead fish or small invertebrates.
This crab is quite a small one. They go huge size, don't they? This king crabs.
No, this is not the Alaska king crab that you may be thinking of.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. I thought this was a little one of those.
No, this is a different species altogether, and this is a full-size king crab. This is similar to our box crab, but the Alaska king crab goes to a width of 4 or 5 feet.
There's one fish that we haven't talked about. It's a very common fish all over Canada and lots of areas of North America, and that is the common carp.
As these carp were caught nearby Vancouver in Pacific Lake and some other freshwater bodies of water.
Well, the point that I want to let people know about carp is the fact that they are a coarse fish. They're very edible fish, particularly the Jewish people. They have dishes made especially of carp, and they seek them out and buy them wherever they can. They have some meaning to the Jewish people, and they're very, very sought after for that reason. But as far as the sport fish are concerned, they can be caught by hook and line. They can be taken on flies even. I've done it in the same area. But the problem here is that these carp were introduced many, many years ago from other areas as minnows when they were brought up as live bait. And there are laws almost all over North America now prohibiting transfer of live fish from one body of water to another. Because this is what happens. These carp grow, if the minnows naturally grow, and you end up with these 20 to 30 pound specimens of coarse fish which take up a lot of the feed and ruin the habitat of the more sought-after sport fishes like the trouts and basses. And I always thought a minnow was just any small fish.
Yes, well that's what the common conception is, but actually the minnow is the cyprinid. They're all freshwater forms, all minnows. And the small fishes in the sea, of course, are not minnows.
But they're commonly called minnows.
Well, yes.
Well, speaking of misconceptions and misnomers and misnames and habits of different creatures of the fresh and salt waters, we're going to take you now to one of the tanks here where they've got an octopus. And you people who don't live near seacoast, you're going to be fascinated by this octopus. And this has been given a bad name in a lot of motion pictures for many, many years. Actually, he's quite a shy creature, but we're going to actually try and arouse him a little bit, Vincey.
Yes.
And we'll show you how the octopus actually operates. Well, this octopus, Vince, I think they're much maligned as being the ferocious monsters of the deep, but what's your assistant doing up there now? I can see he's got his hand in there in the tank.
Well, he's just stimulating the octopus to come over and play. We find that they can be tamed, and they are rather a timid animal, but they can be tamed, and once they become used to living here, they put on quite a show.
I understand
they are actually destroyers, and they're dangerous to other animals in the sea.
Well, I even had the experience personally over in Vancouver Island when we were doing the underwater garden show. Jimmy Land, a good friend of mine, took me out, and he went and caught one amongst the rocks.
Yes.
They like living in the holes in the rocks there, and he handed it to me, and I sort of wrestled it into a bucket.
Yes, and you found that it got out of the bucket pretty easily?
Oh, yeah.
They're jet.
It actually sort of swims and propels.
Jet propelled motion through the water.
They are a slimy, ugly-looking creature, though, Vince, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
And what do they principally feed on?
Mostly crustaceans, crabs, and seems to be their main source of food, although they catch fish, too.
Are they fast enough to catch a prawn?
Yes, I think they would be. Although the prawns are very agile, it would be rather difficult, I think, for them to catch a prawn.
And how do they accomplish this with all their tentacles and so on? Do they swim over to them, or do they wait for them, the prey, to come to them?
Well, they're very mobile. They rove around, and they will pounce on a crab that's carrying along the bottom and envelop it in the middle of the arms and use that web that you see between the arms to form a net. And then they quickly paralyze the crab with a venom which they inject with their tongue.
Oh.
And then they pull the crab apart and use this long tongue to extract the meat.
Nature in the raw, there.
Very true.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, with the Pacific octopus here in the background, I hope you've enjoyed our indoor-outdoor show tonight. A little bit different, and I hope you learned something about the fishes and their habits from Vince Penfold of the Vancouver Public Aquarium Association. We'd like to thank Vince, and also Dr. Murray Newman, the curator of the Vancouver Public Aquarium, for allowing us to come in and take these films for you. It's been a pleasure, and I see our friend is gone now, so it's time for us to go. Be a true sportsman, and tight lines, straight shooting.
Join us again next week for another Tides and Trails, Canada's only outdoor show. The show as big as all outdoors. Brought to you by Sportsman King Size Filter Cigarettes.